Welcome back to Expansive. I am Yar TTomlliw, and this is the open beta of Steep, Ubisoft's brand new intellectual property that's releasing on December the 2nd. This open beta has been around the last couple of weeks on PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and essentially it's an open world extreme sports game where you can play 4 different variations of a sport set in the Alps. So essentially what you do, you go around exploring, you might uncover secret challenges, different races, you might encounter little plot points in the story. Basically it's the same kind of open world you've come to expect from a Ubisoft title like Watch Dogs or Far Cry, but in kind of a extreme game sports environment. And that's really quite refreshing and unique, because generally these types of games you might just get like a couple of courses to play through, a couple of championships, then you might just like play online with that, or just like play some time attack or time trial modes. This is just kind of an open expanded world in the Alps which you can explore, and just like there's photo modes, there's dynamic cameras, there's all sorts of things going on. But the other unique thing about Steep from other types of games is that you can basically alternate between these sports at any point. So for instance, you could be skiing down a rather large slope, and as you reach the lip and jump off, you could then decide you want to do some paragliding. And you can alternate and switch between these with absolute ease. It's just like a tap of the button on the wheel, and there you go. So obviously with Steep, it's going to live and die on the community, and essentially for a game like this, if it's going to meet the same kind of sales as Watch Dogs 2, which I'm kind of hoping it doesn't, because I think there's something really unique and cool here, it might really struggle, because this is a game that is definitely going to require people to post their time trials online. It's going to require people to play together, kind of interact in the world. We're just going to have to wait and see, because that's the thing with new IP, is you just never know how it's going to do. You can never predict. But the cool thing that Ubisoft has done obviously is bring out these open betas. A lot of people have had a chance to try it now. They've posted some videos, they've posted some impressions. I certainly like what I've seen so far. I think there's definitely something really cool and creative about this. It's definitely got that Ubisoft feel to it, but it's doing something that's very different at the same time. Having said all of that, I chopped a good 20 minutes out of this video, and the reason for that was I was spending all of that time walking around to my destination. Now, personally, from a kind of like a beta perspective or a demo perspective, if I'm looking to get into a game, looking to maybe make a purchase, I'm not really going to be that interested in just walking around the environment. That's the kind of thing I might do in the main game when I'm immersed and I got my foot in and I'm just ready and I'm enjoying the game. The problem is, when you're trialing this to someone and they're kind of experiencing it for the first time, that can be a little off-putting, especially since during that 20-minute walk between where I started and where I needed to go, I actually didn't find a lot other than just beautiful scenery. That's all well and good, that's great. I actually love looking at scenery. I mean, in most of my videos you can see I tend to look around, I tend to explore and see what's going on. I like beautiful vistas, but not when I'm trying to see if this is the game I want to buy. This is something that I would be invested in. So yeah, my real hope for Steep, coming away from the open beta immediately, is that I hope there's a lot more challenges and things to discover on your route where you need to go to your destination, because otherwise this game could get really repetitive really quickly. Of course, as I said before, this is going to live and die on an online community, so if there is no online community, then the game is going to be pretty barren and pretty forgettable very quickly. I mean, the cool thing about this is that there's also a trick system as well. As you would expect from these types of games, you can perform tricks when you're in the air, you can kind of do different stunts to try and improve your score, to try and improve your your medal rating at the end of the game. So you can kind of see if, like, you know, you can obviously try and impress friends, and obviously at the same time post some replays so they can see that, but try to get the best possible score. And as you can see, there's been a lot of crashes in this as well. I've actually not had my best time in this. I've been doing a lot of stumbling around, a lot of restarting. That's as you would expect from these types of games, and I'm absolutely cool with that. And it's actually fun because it's kind of like a trial and error type thing. So you're learning as you go, you're improving as you go, and therefore you're just going to get better at the game overall. Beautiful to look at. It really is a stunning looking game, and you can see the snow kind of whistling across the screen. You can see the track marks in the snow and the kind of like the effect that it's actually having. It really feels authentic, and I think the movement of the characters certainly feels as it would if you're trudging through the snow. And certainly as a result of that, I can understand why it takes so long to get to your destination. And yes, I suppose at any point I could switch between my skis or I could switch between my snowboard. The difference is, when you're going uphill most of the time, none of that is really any good to you. So I think that while the fast travel is going to be opened up to you once you reach these locations, getting to these locations could be a little bit of a frustrating factor for a lot of players and could potentially put them off. But there is also the Explorer world. You can just explore the world to discover new challenges and locations. There's the Freestyler mode, which it focuses on the tricks, the precisions and accuracy. There's the Bone Collector playstyle, which rewards players for performing ridiculous amounts of stunts and crashing. And then there's the Free Rider, which is described as a mix of all three of the playstyles, in which players will be rewarded if they explore the world, perform accurate tricks, and take risks to perform the dangerous stunts. Now, this has actually been developed by Ubisoft and Expansive, and they've worked on Assassin's Creed, they worked on Splinter Cell, and this is the first original game from them, and development was started way back in 2013. And weirdly, it was inspired by the developers' close proximity to the Alps and also Ghost Recon Wildlands, which is, yes, it's an open world, but that's set in the desert, right? In the heat. So you've got the contrast of something being set in the heat and then you're going out into the snow. So that's a real massive differentiation there. But as you can see there, I also use some binoculars to explore. So you're using the binoculars to identify points of interest, and then you use those to then you target them on your map. You can set waypoints, and then you can walk towards those waypoints. And I love the fact as well, a bit like Trials HD, where the moment you fail a race, or you fail a challenge, or fail anything at all, you can immediately restart it. I think that for me kind of creates that sense of Trials evolution environment, which was extremely replayable, extremely addictive. You just kept on one more go, one more go, one more go, and before you know it, it's 5 hours later and you're still playing it. And that's the mark of a good game, I think. A game that you really feel like, I'm annoyed, I'm frustrated, but I know I'm learning as I go, and I know I'm potentially going to get better and better at this, and eventually I'm going to crack it. I'm going to get there, and I'm going to be damn good at this game, whether I like it or not. And I think that is something really cool for Ubisoft, because Ubisoft have always been recognised as this developer who create these massive story-driven games like Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed and Far Cry, and people have always felt a little alienated by that. They've always felt like, well, I'm not entirely sure if I could get into that, or I'm not entirely sure that I would really want to get into that. But this really is something quite special and different, and I think that's going to really change perspectives. And it's got more mass market appeal than most Ubisoft games do have. Whereas Watch Dogs only managed to sell about just under 80,000 units in its first week of sales, which is quite disappointing for a game of that stature. This has potential to be a big franchise for Ubisoft. I mean, Steep could very well be their next big thing. So we'll just have to wait and see. There's certainly a lot of potential in there, and I think the multiplayer-centric mode in this really kind of lends itself to people just playing together with friends, or just picking up the pad and having a bit of fun, and just there's no necessarily the intensity of a multiplayer games where you have to level up to a certain rank, or you have to achieve a certain prestige in order to get to get the best things. It's just like a simple pick up the pad and just challenge your friends type game, and that I really appreciate and I like, and I think that is a lot of part of its charm. Based on this open beta, I've enjoyed my time with Steep. I think there's some concerns to be had, as I've already illustrated in this video, but I am looking forward to seeing if those are kind of looked at properly in the main game, and a lot of the travelling aspect is improved over time as well through patch updates, and whether or not there is a lot to find on the side. So while I'm walking around, I want to be able to uncover secrets. I want to see more challenges. Those are the kind of things I'm going to want to do to kind of break up the action, because if you're just continuously walking and looking at beautiful scenery, eventually it's going to get a bit fatiguing. You're going to turn the game off and you may not even come back. So I'm hoping that Steep does enough to kind of entertain players throughout, because certainly I think playing this open beta, I found that the downtime between action was a little bit too much. I would have liked to have seen a bit more action, a bit more focus. I understand they need to explain the mechanics of the game and they need to kind of get players familiar with what's going on, but it's a little bit difficult to do that when all you're doing is walking, and you're just not going to find what you're looking for, and you're going to get a bit bored. But yes, very encouraging signs from Steep. Nice looking open world exploration snow sports game. Very different, very unique, very fresh, very Ubisoft, and looking like it could be another potential major original IP hit for Ubisoft. We'll have to wait and see. As I said, this launches December 2nd on Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and PC. I think the open beta is actually now closed, so you can't try it anymore, but certainly if they do release another demo in the future, or you look at any videos, or you get a chance to play it at all, you should really give it a go, because I think it's got something for everyone in there, and I think it's going to be enjoyable for anyone who just fancies playing something a little bit different, a little bit switch off, a little bit refreshing. We've had such a wide spate of intense releases over the last few months, and I think this is just a nice refreshing change of pace to slow things down a bit until we move into the larger palette of 2017. But thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Hopefully we'll be able to give you some coverage of the full game when it comes out, but for now, see you next time.